Today I'll be exploring forbidden places and artifacts, from a cursed book of witchcraft to King Tut's legendary Trumpets of War. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hundreds of illegal historical artifacts. Police found something crazy at a local man's house in Andrychów, Poland. This fellow, who is unnamed, had been on their radar for a while, and finally they got a tip that let them be able to search his place. Turns out the man had a massive stash of stolen historical artifacts, like real treasures, in cardboard boxes all over his property, especially up in the attic. We're talking about over 400 ancient artifacts. The police, along with some folks from the Provincial Office for Monument Protection, raided this man's house in 2020. They found all sorts of things: lead bullets, weapon parts, arrowheads, and ancient pieces of clothing, just to name a few. Some of these artifacts date back to the Middle Ages. Can you imagine stumbling upon something from hundreds of years ago, just hidden away in someone's attic? These items weren't just lying around innocently. They were likely dug up illegally using metal detectors and without the proper permission to do so. It's like a real-life treasure hunt gone wrong. Most people who use metal detectors are law-abiding citizens, but some are up to no good messing with historical sites. This isn't just a problem in Poland. UNESCO says it's a global headache. People are going nuts for rare ancient things, treating them like art or investments. Some people collect stolen artifacts, not realizing the damage they're causing to history. It's a big business, worth billions of dollars. The police are cracking down on this outlaw artifact trade, which is a relief because honestly we need to protect our heritage. Illegal digs mess everything up, destroying historical sites forever. We can't even guess how many amazing artifacts have been snatched from the ground illegally. King Tut's Trumpets of War. For almost a century, the curse of the pharaohs has been the subject of intense debate in the world of archaeology. This was especially the case after the sensational discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. The tomb was found by archaeologist Howard Carter and his team. The legend of this curse began with eerie events surrounding the excavation, like Carter's pet bird being killed by a cobra. But what exactly is the curse of the pharaohs? Well, it's a famous legend or belief that suggests there is a curse associated with disturbing ancient Egyptian tombs, particularly those of the pharaohs. Amidst the treasures unearthed from King Tut's tomb were two trumpet-like instruments, one silver and the other copper or bronze. They are believed to have been used to signal warriors into battle by the pharaoh himself. These artifacts eventually ended up at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, but their journey was anything but uneventful. The bronze trumpet was stolen during a heist at the museum in the late 1930s, only to be recovered later in a bag on the Egyptian metro. Seems like whoever took the trumpet got cold feet. Maybe they even felt the effects of the curse before abandoning it. Then in 1939, the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, announced a daring plan, a live broadcast featuring the trumpet's first performance in over 3 millennia. This broadcast stirred both excitement and apprehension across Britain, with millions tuning in to witness history unfold. This daring act earned the trumpets the nickname Tut's Trumpets of War. But why? Well, shortly after this broadcast, Adolf Hitler invaded Poland in September of 1939. This marked the beginning of World War II, leaving many to wonder if the cursed trumpets had anything to do with it. Other stories of mishaps and misfortunes surrounding the trumpets only seem to fuel the curse narrative. During a rehearsal for the BBC broadcast, a silver trumpet tragically shattered when a performer attempted to attach a modern mouthpiece. The bell at the bottom of the trumpet fell off entirely, and even though it was made of metal, the part of the instrument that fell shattered like glass when it hit the ground. This phenomenon was later explained. It was said that the silver had crystallized after being untouched for thousands of years in the tomb, but that explanation didn't stop the panic among witnesses. Upon hearing the news, Alfred Lucas, a member of the original tomb excavation team, collapsed and required hospitalization. On the day of the broadcast, a series of bizarre events unfolded, from a runaway horse nearly derailing the broadcast engineer's car, to a power outage in the studio before the performance. Despite the setbacks, the trumpet's haunting melody echoed across the airwaves to an audience of millions, illuminated only by candlelight after the blackout. The pattern of misfortune continued over the decades. The silver trumpet was reportedly played before subsequent conflicts like the Six-Day War in 1967 and the Gulf War in 1990. The trumpet was played once again in 2011, a week before the Egyptian Revolution. But interestingly, there's no actual curse inscribed in King Tut's tomb. Egyptologists agree that the curse of the pharaohs likely stemmed from the opening of the Valley of the Kings, not Tutankhamun's tomb itself. So are these trumpets truly cursed, or is war and destruction merely a human condition? Whatever the case may be, historians decided never to play them again, preserving their fragile historical significance. Maybe it's best to let the mysteries of the trumpets remain hidden and forgotten. The Discovery of Witchcraft. Let me transport you back in time to the year 1584. You're in England during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I when Reginald Scott published a groundbreaking book titled The Discovery of Witchcraft. But what made this book so revolutionary? It's believed to be the first English book on witchcraft, and it caused quite a stir. It wasn't just a historical artifact, it was a manifesto challenging the prevailing beliefs about witches and magic. Scott's mission was bold and controversial. Unlike the common notion of witches as sinister practitioners of dark arts, Scott argued that those accused of witchcraft were often innocent women skilled in natural healing methods and illusions. He sought to debunk the widespread fear and superstition surrounding witches. The Discovery of Witchcraft gives insight into the practices of the time, but what exactly did Scott reveal within its pages? He meticulously collected and analyzed accounts of alleged witchcraft, presenting a comprehensive view of the subject. And he didn't stop there. The book also delved into the realm of stage magic and illusion, revealing the secrets behind popular tricks performed by magicians of the era. One fascinating aspect of Scott's work is its influence on literature and theatre. Did you know that Shakespeare may have been inspired by Scott's book when creating the iconic witches scene in his famous play Macbeth? Well, it's true. The detailed descriptions provided by Scott lent authenticity and depth to Shakespeare's portrayal of the supernatural. But perhaps the most surprising revelation from the Discovery of Witchcraft is its unexpected impact on the world of magic. Far from dispelling myths, Scott inadvertently became a patron saint of magicians. The book served as a manual for aspiring illusionists, offering detailed instructions on performing sleight of hand and seemingly miraculous feats. Imagine flipping through the pages of this ancient text and stumbling upon secrets of the trade, like how to appear to thrust a needle into your head without harm, or how to create the illusion of levitation. These revelations, intended to demystify magic, instead fueled its popularity and mystique for centuries to come. As you can likely guess, not everyone was happy about this. The King of Scotland, James VI, was deeply disturbed by the ideas presented in the book. Like many of his subjects, he had a fervent belief that witches consorted with the devil and posed a genuine threat. James even suspected that a coven of witches was plotting to assassinate him, a fear that intensified his opposition to Scott's views. In response, James penned his own book called Demonology in 1597, partly to challenge and discredit Scott's assertions. When James ascended to the English throne in 1603 as King James I, his stance against witchcraft only solidified. Legend has it that he ordered all copies of Scott's book to be burned, although historical evidence on this matter remains inconclusive. Regardless, James's hatred for the Discovery of Witchcraft reflected broader concerns at the time about the perceived dangers of women practicing magic. Authorities believed that such practices contradicted the goals of both the state and the church. James's efforts aimed to instill fear within female communities and firmly condemn witchcraft and its perceived occult practices. But despite facing criticism and opposition from religious authorities, including King James I, Scott's work endured. Copies of the Discovery of Witchcraft survived the test of time, cherished by collectors and scholars alike. Its legacy continues to resonate in modern interpretations of magic and witchcraft. Today, the first edition of Scott's groundbreaking book resides at the Library of Congress. Within its weathered pages lie the secrets of an era, the contradictions, fears, and aspirations of a society grappling with mysteries of the unknown. And now for number 7, but first it's shout-out time. I wanted to give a big thank you to user PQ6PB2YG9M and Dragon Games for supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like these. Dudley Town. In the vast expanse of the United States, there are many mysterious and haunting locations. Among these is Dudley Town, located in northwestern Connecticut. It's a ghostly village shrouded in eerie legends and whispered curses. Situated within a valley called the Dark Entry Forest near Cornwall Bridge, Dudley Town has become a forbidden place, off limits to visitors. But why? Dudley Town, although never formally established as a town, gained its name in the early 1740s when families like the Dudleys settled in the area. The land perched atop a hill proved challenging for farming, and this led to a gradual decline in population by the 19th century. Over time, Dudley Town transformed into a ghost town, its silence haunted by legends of misfortune and tragedy. The most enduring legend is the Dudley Curse. It's believed to have originated from Edmund Dudley, an English nobleman who was executed for treason. According to folklore, a curse of death and misfortune befell the Dudleys, manifesting in a series of tragic events spanning generations. From failed plots for the British throne to deadly epidemics that ravaged their family, the Dudleys seemed plagued by ill fate. However, skeptics and researchers have offered alternative explanations for the strange occurrences at Dudley Town. Dr. John F. Leach, a longtime resident of Dark Entry Forest, dismisses claims of paranormal activity. He's lived there for decades without ever witnessing anything supernatural. Reverend Gary Dudley, a Dudley family genealogist, points out discrepancies in the supposed origins of the curse and the Dudley descendants who settled in Connecticut. He suggested that moldy bread made from rotten rye could have caused villagers to see things that weren't there, like ghosts. Ghost hunter Ed Warren, on the other hand, suggests that the curse on the Dudley lineage is a result of an ancestor's involvement in witchcraft trials. He believes that one of the Dudley ancestors was an English judge that sentenced people to death for witchcraft. Warren thinks this led to supernatural retaliation against the family. Nancy Ziegler, co-author of Deadly Town, suggests that stakeholders of Dudley Town have a vested interest in preserving the area's mystique. Some skeptics even suggest that the curse was crafted to spark intrigue along the Dark Entry Road nearby, adding to the allure of Dudley Town. Despite these rational explanations, Dudley Town remains a closed-off area, with Connecticut State Police warning against trespassing due to safety concerns. Whether one believes in curses or not, the legacy for Dudley Town as a forbidden and haunted location continues to captivate curious minds. Do you think you'd be brave enough to explore this ghost town? Let me know in the comments. Manichaeism, the forbidden religion. Religion for some is a touchy subject. Sometimes your beliefs can land you in hot water, and that's exactly what happened to those who subscribe to the Manichaeism religion, which you've likely never heard of before. Why is that? Well, it was intentionally buried, as so many other religions have been over the centuries. Manichaeism was a unique religious movement founded by the prophet Mani in the 3rd century AD. It was a dualistic and syncretic religion that believed in a constant struggle between the forces of good and evil in the universe. Mani claimed to be the final prophet for all religions, aiming to combine various religious teachings into one cohesive belief system. Mani was all about claiming his connection to Jesus, proudly calling himself a disciple of Jesus Christ. But the early Christian church wasn't having it and labeled him a heretic. Despite playing in the minor leagues compared to big shots like Christianity or Zoroastrianism, Manichaeism caught the eye of some serious VIPs in the Persian Empire. With royal backers on his team, Mani went on a world tour, hitting up places like Turkestan, India, and Iran to spread his spiritual vision. The Manichaean texts, religious writings associated with Manichaeism, faced numerous challenges throughout history. The text spoke of the constant cosmic battle between light and darkness. They explained that the universe in which we live is the result of darkness attacking the realm of light. The religion rejected the idea of a singular, all-powerful good deity like God. Instead, it proposed a balance between opposing forces. Human beings were seen as a battleground where the light, our souls, and darkness, our bodies, struggled against each other. The Roman Emperor Diocletian was one of the first leaders to persecute Manichaeism. During his reign, he ordered the burning of all Manichaean texts and the execution of its leaders. This seems to be a common practice when certain religions get too big for their britches. Manichaeism made quite a splash when it bumped into Christianity. At first glance, Christians saw it as heretical, likely because it popped up in a Gnostic hotspot, Persia. Take Augustine of Hippo, for example. He flirted with Manichaeism for a solid 9 years before his big Christian conversion. So, why did he practice Manichaeism for so long? Well, Augustine was grappling with a big question: why evil goes on unchecked in our world. Manichaeism's take, that the world's a mashup of God and Satan, tickled his fancy. Plus, it was cool to blame sin on cosmic fate rather than personal choices. But when Augustine embraced Christianity, he became strongly opposed to Manichaeism. He wrote passionate critiques of Manichaeism to defend the Church. Augustine's arguments influenced the development of early Roman Catholic beliefs, leading to important debates about religious ideas. Manichaeism found support in the Persian Sasanian Empire initially, but it was eventually declared heresy by leaders of Zoroastrianism, the dominant religion of Persia. This declaration led to the censorship and banning of Manichaean texts within the Persian Empire. Mani himself was martyred in 277 AD by the Persian religious establishment, but ironically his death only seemed to spread the sect more. Manichaeism spread along the Silk Road to Asia and China, although it faced similar challenges. Manichaean texts were deemed heretical and were banned, with collections of these texts being burned in places like Abbasid, Baghdad in 923 AD. The cumulative effect of these persecutions and bans led to the loss of the majority of Manichaean texts. Scholars believe that only fragments remain, with significant discoveries made in the early 20th century in Egypt's Fayum oasis. Rumors of Rothschild Island. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard of the Rothschild family. The Rothschilds are rumored to be one of the oldest, richest, and most storied families in history. They have a net worth of around $1 billion, according to recent estimates, but some believe them to be far wealthier, with influence that extends back to ancient times. One topic that comes up a lot when discussing the Rothschilds is their alleged island in the Weddell Sea, in Antarctica. It's not particularly unusual for families with a lot of money to purchase their very own islands, but Rothschild Island is unique due to the sheer amount of conspiracy theories surrounding it. The island is just over 24 miles long and was founded in 1938. The landmass doesn't appear on Google Earth. Well, that's not exactly true. Google Earth will take you to its location, but the island seems to be blurred, hidden behind a deliberately placed square, shielding your view. If you don't believe me, check it out for yourself. This snapshot was taken from Google Earth. So what could be so important that this island can't be seen by the public? I'll get into that. I do have to note, though, that the family doesn't claim to own this island. Whether they are lying or telling the truth, however, is unclear. Listen to some of these theories about the island and tell me what you think in the comments. Some rumors claim that Rothschild Island is actually the location of a hidden city where wealthy elites like the Rothschilds live secretly, far away from the rest of the world. The families who live here allegedly engage in strange experiments involving alien technology and other forbidden knowledge. Some even believe that the Rothschilds are in contact with extraterrestrials and they meet on this mysterious island. There are even whispers that Rothschild Island sits on a powerful energy line. This energy line could open up a doorway to other dimensions, a portal to unknown worlds. And when you think about it, this theory isn't really that far-fetched. There are other alleged portals that have been found all over the globe, so why couldn't there be one in Antarctica, on an island Google Earth doesn't want you to see? The conspiracy theories don't end there. There are tales of people who went to Rothschild Island and were never seen or heard from again. There are also rumors of the island serving as a weather control center. The Rothschilds allegedly manipulate weather patterns in order to influence certain global events. This is said to be done by utilizing the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HAARP. There is supposedly a secret group called the Weather Consortium that's made up of some of the wealthiest individuals in the world. Prominent figures from the tech and finance sectors like the Rothschilds are said to be members of this group. Some people believe that the Weather Consortium is united by a common goal: to manipulate global weather patterns for substantial financial gain. And by controlling the weather, the group can predict, or possibly even dictate, harvest outcomes. Can you imagine knowing when and where a flood or a drought will occur? It's enough to make someone go mad with power. The Weather Consortium may be using weather modification to target certain areas with hurricanes to drive up insurance rates and damage property. They could be causing droughts so they can increase the price of food. The possibilities with this type of technology are honestly endless. Other theories claim that the island could be the headquarters for the secret world government, or maybe even a hub for time travel experiments. People who have gone down this rabbit hole think that the Rothschilds have unlocked the secrets of time manipulation. They could be altering past events to shape the present, possibly contributing to the emergence of the famous Mandela effect conspiracy theory. You know, the one where a large group of people remember something in the past, only for all of them to be mistaken. I could go on and on about the Rothschild family and how they allegedly date all the way back to ancient Egypt, as Billy Carson suggests, but I think I'll leave that for another video. For now, I'll leave you to ponder what could be going down on Rothschild Island. Do any of these theories make sense to you? Let me know. The Deuk Box. An artifact known as the Deuk Box has earned the title of the world's most haunted object, and it has a story that will send shivers down your spine. The Deuk Box is not your ordinary container. It's steeped in a tale involving the Holocaust, online auctions, and even the rapper Post Malone. Originally crafted to hold wine bottles, this box has sparked reports of eerie shadows, mysterious noises, and strange odors that leave people feeling overwhelmed by dark energy. Its name, Deuk, stems from Jewish folklore, referring to a malevolent spirit that latches onto individuals. The sinister saga of the Deuk Box begins with an antiques dealer named Kevin Manis. Kevin stumbled upon this peculiar box in Oregon in 2003. He bought it at an auction following the death of a 103-year-old Holocaust survivor. He then decided to sell the box online. But little did Kevin know, this box harbored an ominous secret. Despite warnings from the survivor's family not to open it, curiosity got the better of him. He peeked inside to find a candlestick, a note written in Yiddish, and locks of human hair. For some reason, Kevin gifted the box to his mother, who suffered a stroke shortly thereafter. Desperate to rid himself of this cursed item, Kevin passed it on, but misfortune seemed to trail anyone in possession of it. It ultimately ended up in the hands of museum curator Jason Haxton. He also encountered strange phenomena, dark shadows, and even untimely deaths among his staff. Driven by curiosity, Jason embarked on a quest to locate the original owner's family. What he uncovered was a chilling tale. The box had been used in a ritual to capture an evil spirit. This was part of a desperate attempt to summon ghosts to help take down the Nazis. After learning of its dark backstory, the box underwent biohazard tests and evaluations from experts. But these efforts proved fruitless. Jason, not knowing what else to do, attempted to rid the box of its malevolent aura. He placed it in a gold-lined container and then a bomb-resistant case. And after that, he buried the box in an undisclosed location. However, the Deuk Box didn't stay buried for long. In 2017, Ghost Adventures star Zach Bagans acquired the box and placed it in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Kept behind a glass case, visitors can view it, after signing a waiver, of course. In 2018, global rap star Post Malone made headlines when he visited the museum to view the box. He claimed that he accidentally touched it second-hand through Zach. Malone wholeheartedly believes that this interaction with the box caused a string of harrowing incidents in his life, including a near plane crash, a robbery, and a car accident. So could this box really be cursed? Let me know what you think in the comments. The Cilene Books. For centuries, the Cilene Books held a mysterious place in Roman society. They were like ancient Roman crystal balls, sought after in times of crisis to predict the empire's destiny. These mystical tomes, supposedly penned by wise sibyls, aka female oracles, held secrets whispered by the gods themselves. Legend has it that a sibyl named Cumae arrived in Rome with 9 prophetic books. She offered them for a price to desperate officials grappling with a plague, but the Romans haggled over the price, and in response Cumae dramatically burned 3 of the books. She then offered the remaining 6 for the same price. They refused again, so she burned 3 more. Reluctantly, the Romans paid for the last 3 books and safeguarded them in a temple of Jupiter, where they became Rome's secret weapon in times of trouble. The Cilene Books were written in Greek, which is considered the language of prophecy. They were like the Roman Senate's secret hotline to the divine. When Rome faced its darkest hours, like after the catastrophic Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, the Senate turned to these books for guidance. And what advice do you think the books provided? Well, they said that the Romans simply needed to sacrifice a couple of Gauls and Greeks to appease the gods and dodge more disasters. But the Cilene Books didn't just predict dire circumstances. They also foretold the rise of Rome's first emperor, Augustus. After the Battle of Actium, which settled Rome's civil war, the Senate consulted the books and got word of a foreign king who would bring prosperity. Lo and behold, it was interpreted as referring to Augustus, sealing his fate as Rome's top ruler. But tragedy struck in 83 BC when a fire broke out at the Temple of Jupiter, reducing the original Cilene Books to ashes. Talk about a cosmic catastrophe. The Senate scrambled to compile new books over the decades. They consulted with various oracles for fresh prophecies on military strategies, health tips, and disaster survival. But nobody knows what was written in the Cilene Books that burned. Despite their fading influence as Rome's power dwindled, the Cilene Books clung to relevance into the Christian era. Emperor Constantine even ordered their preservation, though their contents remained locked away, forbidden to be seen by anyone deemed unworthy. Today, these books are like ancient relics from a mystical era, reminding us of Rome's belief in divine guidance during times of turmoil. While their prophecies have vanished, the Cilene Books continue to echo the enduring link between politics and spirituality in ancient Rome. What do you think was in the 6 books Cumae burned when the Roman officials refused to pay her original price? The Goddess of Death statue. In the thrilling world of archaeology, where buried treasures reveal the secrets of ancient civilizations, there's one artifact that stands out among the rest: the Women from Lem statue. It was discovered in 1878 beneath the sun-baked soil of Lempa, Cyprus. This small 14-inch tall limestone sculpture dates back to around 3500 BC, and according to some, this thing is plagued by a dark curse. I mean, just take a look at this thing and tell me you don't get creepy vibes. The picture taken from the Royal Scottish Museum. It sort of looks like a person with their limbs severed above the joints with a stump for a head. Now let's talk about the Women from Lem's reputation, or rather its nickname, the Goddess of Death. Legend has it that the statue brings nothing but doom and gloom to anyone who dares to possess it. It all started with a man named Lord Elfont, a British colonial bigwig. He acquired the statue and suddenly found himself losing 7 family members within 6 years. Ivor Manucci, the statue's next owner, thought he'd snagged a unique artifact. That is, until tragedy struck, wiping out his entire family in just 4 years. Then there's Lord Thompson Noel, who inherited the cursed piece and, you guessed it, faced a similar grim fate within 4 years. But the statue's path of death and destruction didn't end there. Sir Alan Biverbrook took ownership of the statue, only to meet a mysterious demise alongside his family shortly afterward. Spooky, right? There are even rumors that the statue was seized by the Nazis during the Second World War. However, this has never been confirmed. The Women from Lem eventually ended up at the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh, but now it's sealed away in a glass case like a dangerous relic from an Indiana Jones movie. Even the museum curator who dared to handle it met an untimely end within a year. Despite the bone-chilling stories, some skeptics question the authenticity of the curse. Efforts to follow the families connected to the statue end without success, raising doubts about whether the deaths attributed to it actually occurred. Still, though, the Women from Lem remains under strict quarantine at the museum, untouched by human hands, unless you count the gloves worn by brave researchers who dare to study it. Meanwhile, in the ancient village of Lempa, archaeologists continue to dig up intriguing artifacts, including over 100 cruciform or cross-shaped female figurines similar to our cursed friend. It's like they're uncovering pieces of a mysterious puzzle that hint at forgotten rituals and beliefs of a bygone era. Niiha Hawaii. There's an island in Hawaii that tourists aren't allowed to visit. It's called Niiha, but it also has a rather ominous-sounding nickname, the Forbidden Island. The waterlocked landmass has been privately owned by the Robinson family for over 150 years. Niiha is considered a cultural preservation site for native Hawaiians, keeping its traditions and way of life intact. The island itself was formed about 5 million years ago from a single shield volcano, with its highest peak, Paneau, standing at over 1,200 feet above sea level. Connected to Niiha is the islet Lahua, a crescent-shaped rim of a volcanic island that's primarily made of tuff. The island's composition creates unique underwater formations, and it serves as a haven for seabirds and marine life. So how did the Robinsons come to possess this tropical paradise? In 1864, the Robinson family purchased Niiha from King Kamehameha for $10,000. These days, buying an island for that price tag would be a dream. The Robinsons also bought a significant amount of land in Kauai, making them prominent landowners in Hawaii. They implemented a strict policy restricting access to Niiha, earning it the nickname of the Forbidden Island. Only residents, members of the Robinson family, or invited guests are allowed to visit, ensuring isolation from the outside world. Today, Niiha is home to approximately 100 to 250 residents, most of whom are full-blooded Hawaiians. They live a simple life centered around fishing and farming. The island maintains its isolation with limited modern conveniences to preserve its unique culture and language. In fact, Niiha is the last place in Hawaii where Hawaiian is spoken fluently. Residents rely on the land and sea for sustenance. The island is renowned for its Niiha shell leis, which are handcrafted using shells found only on Niiha beaches. This ancient art of lei making has been passed down through generations, with each lei requiring hundreds of tiny shells delicately strung together. Despite its allure, Niiha faces challenges as its population declines due to educational opportunities off the island. But still, Niiha remains a symbol of Hawaii's cultural heritage and natural beauty. If you want to visit this mysterious island, you better make friends with the Robinson family. Do you think you have what it takes to live on an isolated island without modern conveniences? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're at it, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.